So yesterday we talked very important topic, inspiration and expiration, and along with pulmonary volumes. In that, tidal volume is very important, and as well as minute respiratory volume is also important. We have to need understood about that, and we have physiological dead space, anatomical dead space are there. Physiological dead space is more danger, and it is not acceptable. It will dam. It is the due to the damage of any part of the lungs. Okay. Now we'll talk about exchange of gases. How the gases are exchanged. Okay. There are two sides of exchange of gas, oxygen and carbon dioxide. The lungs and the tissues of the body. The exchange of gases between the air in the alveoli and the blood in the pulmonary cavity is called external respiration. The term may be a bit confusing at first because we often think external as being outside the body. In this case, however, external means the exchange that involves air from the external environment. So the exchange takes place within the lungs. Internal respiration is the exchange of gases between the blood in the systematic capillaries and the tissue fluid cells of the body. So basically, exchange of gases means we have two areas where the exchange of gases occurs. One is from lungs to capillaries and from capillaries to cell. Okay. So from lungs to capillaries, we will call this external respiration. Okay. Because so the air entering internal only, but the air coming from external environment. So those the reason we will call external respiration. And it is internal respiration. Internal respiration means the air enter into the lungs and from the lungs to capillaries, from the capillaries to the cell. This journey we will call internal respiration. Okay, so this is very important. So whenever the obstruction occurs, it may be from the lungs to the capillaries or from the capillaries to the cell. Okay. The air we inhale in the atmosphere is approximately 21% oxygen, 0.04 carbon dioxide, almost 78% of the atmosphere is nitrogen. The gas is not physiologically available to us and we simply inhale it. This exhaled air also contains about 60% oxygen, 4.5 carbon dioxide. So it is apparent that some oxygen is retained within the body and the carbon dioxide produced by cell is exhaled. Basically, if we see in the environment, there is 100% gases, in that if we calculate, assume 21% is oxygen, okay, 0.04% are carbon dioxide, and 78% is nitrogen. So here, nitrogen is, and other substances are 0.06. 0.06 are other gases. So in that, 21% is oxygen in our environment and 78% is nitrogen. But they are not physiologically present. They are just, we cannot see with our naked eye, but we will assume that. But we sense that. It is sensible. Okay. Like you are sitting under the fan, you are sensing the coldness which are coming from the air. Okay, so the air is sensible. Okay, but if you are living, in a city, basically there are less amount of oxygen because trees are the most important while coming about oxygen because they exhale oxygen in daytimes and inhale carbon dioxide. Okay, so that's the reason we have to put trees in and out surrounding. But basically, in the city, what will happen? There are less amount of trees, there are large amount of buildings, large amount of factories, large amount of other companies whom daily they are using ACs, heat is generating. So there's the reason in the cities the oxygen capacity is reduced. Like capital city of India, it is Delhi. So in that, the there is less than 21% oxygen is there because of pollution. Okay, so pollution. There is metropolitan city. Okay, there is large number of vehicles are there. Cars are more, bikes are more. Number of vehicles are there, so they are exposing to the pollution. So that's the reason the amount of oxygen is less than 21%. I think between 10 to 15%. Between 10 to 15%. So most of the cities have this ratio, this percentage of oxygen. So basically, if there is less amount of oxygen, our cell need two things. Okay, to produce energy. One is oxygen, next is glucose. Both combine and you will get energy. So there is if there is oxygen is less, okay, then the energy also less. Okay. So there's the reason. So we are advisable to wake up early, okay, and take fresh oxygen because in the morning we have less amount of pollution. Okay, we have to do the garden and have to walk there. Okay, we have to run there. We have to take deep breath. Okay, pranayam, etc., etc. You can do yoga. So exercise, stretching exercises are most beneficial. Okay. So basically, so why? Because we will get large amount of oxygen for our daily needs. So, so advise every patient because more than 80% patient due to this problem they are getting their bodies getting to degeneration because if your bones are working for daily, you are walking 100 steps or you are working for 8 to 12 hours. So you are working, your body is getting stress and utilize energy is utilizing. So we need oxygen. Only if you need if in the day, example, you need uh, uh, 2000 liters of oxygen daily. Example, 2000 liters of oxygen daily you need to build the energy for 8 to 12 hours or to walk 100 steps, but you are getting decreased amount of oxygen means you are getting 12,000, 1200 or 1500 means 500 oxygen amount is lesser than daily need. So what happened? The bones will get degeneration, will get older very quickly. Okay, in the food also, in the glucose what we are getting, it is also not organic. They are they are preparing by processing. They are preparing by giving any chemicals. So we are not getting that amount of energy also. So here, if you need 6,000 calorie of glucose, you're getting 3,000 only. So what will happen? The bones will get degenerated. Very, very important thing I'm explaining here. So you have to give the cell daily need, then only it works properly. So what will happen as time goes, as 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So the bones will get degeneration, patient gets cervical pain, lumbar disc problems, cervical disc problems, and knee degeneration. Okay, synovial fluid thickening, all will happen. Why? Because we are not giving such amount of oxygen and glucose to the body. Okay, so we need fresh air. So we have to avoid all the polluted things. We have to avoid all the chemical food or chemical things which are harmful to our body. Okay, then only we will get the health to the body. So let's come to the topic. I think it is a very important thing. That's the reason I explained here. Okay, you have to explain every patient. Not you have to treat the patient. You have to give the belief that you have the self healing power. You can treat yourself. Okay, this is the main motive. Power. Okay, we have to earn, we have to treat the patient as well as we have to think about our universe, our natural things that can we how we can protect our naturality. Okay, so that our coming generation will utilize that. Okay, so it will helpful for our generation, our future generation as well as other people future generation. Okay, so we have to daily not for our question. If 10 patients are coming to a clinic, explain for 3 to 5 members who are capable to listen back. We are interested. Okay. So here next topic is diffusion of gases. How the gases are diffused means lungs are giving oxygen, that is air, but in the capillaries we have blood that is in liquid form. Gases are converted into the liquid form. Then the gases are reaching to the cell. How this is happening? Because air have pressure, they will enter into the blood. Okay, then something will happen. Something have to be happen, no? But our body is preparing like that. You can take the oxygen easily, can eliminate carbon dioxide easily. Okay, so here let's talk about the diffusion of gases. Within the body, a gas will diffuse from an area of greater concentration to an area of lesser concentration. The concentration of each gas is a particular site. Alveoli air, pulmonary blood, and so on is expressed called partial pressure. The partial pressure of gas measured in mm of Hg is the pressure it exerts within a mixture of gases, whether the mixture is actually in a gaseous state or is in liquid state such as blood. The partial presence of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere in the site of exchange in the blood is listed. The abbreviation for partial pressure is P, which is used, for example, on the hospital labs for the blood gases and will be used here. The partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide at the site of respiration, lungs, and internal respiration because partial pressure reflects concentration. A gas will diffuse from an area of higher partial pressure to an area of lower partial pressure. The air in the alveoli has a high PO2 and low PCO2. The blood in the pulmonary capillary, which has just come from the body, has low PO2 and high PCO2. Therefore, in external expiration, oxygen diffuses from the air in the alveoli in the blood and carbon dioxide diffuses from blood in the air in the alveoli. The blood that returns to the heart now has high PO2 and PCO2, low PCO2 is pumped to the left ventricle into systematic circulation. So basically here, the diffusion of gases, we have partial pressures. So basically, air have pressure. It may be oxygen, it may be carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide in the oxygen, we have the pressure of oxygen is 160 mm of pressure, and the carbon dioxide 0.15 mm. And in the alveoli, if oxygen enters, its pressure is 104, and if carbon dioxide is exhaling, its mm of Hg is 40. In veins, oxygen is 40, carbon dioxide 45. In artery, oxygen is 100 and carbon is 40. In tissue, oxygen is 40 and carbon dioxide 50. So basically, we have to remember this. Okay. So basically, what will happen? We will see in the diagram. So basically, these are the lungs. In this we have here, so bronchioles, bronchi, bronchioles, bronchial tree, and alveoli. Okay, alveoli. These are the alveoli. So basically, what will happen? Every capillaries are running through this alveoli. So capillaries and capillaries are connected to the venules and arterioles. Okay. So what will happen? Blood is flowing here, capillaries from capillaries, veins here. So this is the circulation. This is on circulation. So, but here in the atmosphere, we have the pressure of oxygen is 160, and in the lungs it is coming 40. Carbon dioxide is 40 minimum. Okay. So basically, here blood, in the blood, the oxygen is less. In the environment, oxygen is high. So it is easy to come the blood from the lungs to the capillaries because from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. So air will diffuse from gaseous state to the liquid state. If this formula is there, higher concentration and lower concentration, they diffuse, they will attach to each other. Okay, from gaseous to liquid substance, but there is one condition from higher concentration to lower concentration. So there is large amount of oxygen in the atmosphere. There is low amount of oxygen in the capillaries. So what will happen? Air enters and it will diffuse easily. So from that, the systemic circulation to the heart from left ventricle to the arteria to the left ventricle to the aorta to the all body parts. Okay, understood. Same concept for carbon dioxide, elimination of carbon dioxide. So here in the atmosphere, there is low oxygen, low carbon dioxide. Here we have high carbon dioxide. So it will eliminate, it will diffuse easily. It will diffuse, it will go outside easily. Because the formula higher concentration to the lower concentration is needed for gaseous to liquid for diffusion process. Okay, understood how the carbon dioxide is going outside and oxygen is coming inside the body. Okay, any doubt here? It was very important.
Yes, sir. Explain one more time.
Yeah. So basically, uh, in the environment, they have the pressure of the gases because, like our body is measured by the weight. Okay, my weight is 60, other person weight is 80, other person weight is 45. Huh? Born baby infant weight is 2, 3, 4 kgs. So basically, what is happening that your body is measured by weight. So likewise, gases body weight is measured by pressure. Okay, their pressure will assume that how much amount of oxygen is present. Pressure. Pressure less is there is less amount of oxygen. There is high pressure, there is high amount of oxygen or carbon dioxide. So in the universe, in this universe, we have number of gases. Okay, 78% nitrogen. Okay, 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 0.04% is carbon dioxide, and 0.06 is others. So this is the structure. Okay. You can calculate 78 plus 21, 99, and 0.4 plus 0.6, 1. So we have 100% oxygen. Okay. So oxygen is more in outside. In the body, oxygen is less because oxygen is utilized. So oxygen is entering to the tissue, which is cell, by two things. One, it have to be enter into the lungs. This is lungs, and it will enter into the capillaries. Okay, first it will enter into the lungs. This is in gaseous state, but here oxygen is less. So it will easily enter into the capillaries because for diffusion, we need one formula that is from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Higher concentration to the lower concentration. So diffusion is happening here because oxygen is high in the atmosphere and oxygen is less in our capillaries. That's the reason we need oxygen continuously. Okay, so easily oxygen will diffuse and it will reach to the cell. Okay, same thing is opposite. Okay, if this is lungs, what will happening? Okay, the lungs, this is the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is more because after tissue using O2, the the formation of CO2 happen. Okay, CO2 happens. So CO2 is reaching in capillaries, but here CO2 is less. Here CO2 are high. So the same formula, higher to lower, higher to lower, higher to lower will happen. Higher to lower concentration. Same formula applies here. Carbon dioxide eliminate easily from the body. Understood? Hmm?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Good. Now the blood reach to the capillaries. From that, you have to send to the cell. You have to send the cell. How it is happening? Let's talk about that. So blood reach to the capillaries. Now from capillaries, it will reach to the cell. From the cell, from capillaries to the cell. How it is happening? Let's talk about it. Although some oxygen is dissolved in blood plasma and does create PO2 values, we only about 1.5% of the total oxygen transported, not enough to sustain life. So actually, what will happen? Oxygen is not in 0%. Okay, only 25, 35, 30% oxygen is also there in the blood because if we all amount of oxygen is vanished, so what will happen? Life is very in critical condition. Patient will have breathlessness, we have problem. Okay, there's a reason not all oxygen is utilized in the circulation. There is some amount of oxygen is there. Okay, which is also oxygen is carried by hemoglobin. So oxygen is connected with the hemoglobin. Okay. The mineral iron is a part of hemoglobin and gives this protein oxygen carry ability. So oxygen is a molecule. It will attach with the iron, and iron is present in the Hb. So Hb, this is Hb. In the Hb, you have iron. On the iron, what will happen? Oxygen will set and it will transport the body. The pressure is given here. Where the pressure is, how much pressure is there? In the alveoli, the oxygen pressure is 105. Carbon dioxide pressure is 40. In the pulmonary veins, carbon dioxide 40 and oxygen 100. In the left side of the heart, aorta, oxygen is 100, carbon dioxide is 40. So whenever we will check the test, what will happen? In the artery, we need 40% carbon dioxide and 100% oxygen. Then we can assume that 100% of oxygen is reaching to the body. In this systematic capillaries, here oxygen is decreased and carbon dioxide increase. From that, in the veins, oxygen is reduced, carbon dioxide is high. Okay. So this is the thing we have to remember. The oxygen hemoglobin bond is found in the lungs where PO2 is high. This bond, however, is relatively unstable, and when blood passes through the tissues with low pH, the bond breaks. The oxygen is released to the tissue. The lower the oxygen concentrated in tissue, the more oxygen the hemoglobin requires. Actually, iron have oxygen. So oxygen is HP is going through all the tissues. So wherever the oxygen amount is low, so the oxygen is utilized by the tissue. Okay. So possible. Exercising muscle receives as much oxygen as possible to continue cell respiration. Here the term is utilized for oxygen is taking and other uh, chemical changes will happen. We'll call cell respiration. Okay, cell high respiration. And in fever also we need large amount of oxygen. So that's the reason our heart rate is high. Okay. And the measure of blood oxygen is present in the oxygen saturation hemoglobin. The higher PO2, the higher is SCO2. Saturation, SPO2, we will call it saturation. Saturation is the amount of oxygen is reached to the cell. It may be from 95 to 100%. In the COVID, we have pulse oximeter. Pulse oximeter will give you the value of oxygen and as well as pulse rate. Carbon dioxide is also is there. So basically carbon dioxide is produced by the cells. So cells are releasing carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide will attach to the Hp also. Like oxygen is attaching to the Hp, carbon dioxide is attached to the Hp and it will enter into the blood. From the blood to the lungs, it will eliminate. Okay. Here we have the one formula is forming. Okay. So basically, carbon dioxide is also eliminating 20% less. I mean, 80% of carbon dioxide is eliminated. 20% remains still there. Okay, because to continue the circulation, to continue the uh, circulation or formula, we need carbon dioxide. Okay, so here one thing we have to study that is very important here. I will explain here. When carbon dioxide enters the blood, most diffuse into red blood cells, which contain the enzyme carbonic anhydrase. These enzymes catalyzes the reaction of carbon dioxide and water to form carbonic acid. So here in the blood, there is red blood cells. Red blood cells have one enzyme, which name the enzyme name is carbonic anhydrase. This is the carbon dioxide. Sorry, this is the HB or RBC. RBC have one enzyme. That name is carbonic anhydrase. So what will do? It will catalyze this negative the reaction of carbon dioxide and it will make carbonic acid. This is the carbon dioxide and it is combined with hydrogen means water. Water, not hydrogen. Hydrogen are very different. This is not water. Hydrogen and oxygen. Two hydrogen molecules and oxygen. Carbon dioxide. So it will form carbonic acid, H2CO3. The carbonic acid then dissociate H2CO3. It will release the hydrogen ions. It will form HCO3. Okay, HCO3. The bicarbonate. We will call it is bicarbonate. Okay. The bicarbonate ion diffuse out of the red blood cells into the plasma, leaving the hydrogen ions in the red blood cell. So hydrogen ions remains in the red blood cells or in the blood. The many H plus ions will tend to make the red blood cell too acidic. If the large amount of hydrogen ions are there, the blood become acidic. So here you have to understand Next, we are coming to study about acid base, but here one introduction is given. Okay, you have to remember that. But hemoglobin acts as a buffer to prevent acidosis. Here, hemoglobin is there. So what will it will do? It will decrease the hydrogen. So what will happen? Acid base, either here hydrogen is producing, but Hb is reducing the hydrogen, H plus ions. Okay, to maintain an equilibrium, chloride ions from the plasma enter the red blood. So this is chloride shift. So we need what we need? We need chloride ions to maintain the equilibrium. Where is the CO2? It is in the plasma as a part of HCO3 minus ion when the blood reaches the lungs. In an area of low PCO2, these reactions are reserved and CO2 is reformed and diffused with the alveoli to the exhale. So basically carbon dioxide when released, so very important, we will study in coming, is coming only. Okay. So here I will explain in one step. That is, whenever cells are releasing carbon dioxide. Okay. So in the RBC, what will happen? Carbon dioxide will combine with hydrogen, with water. What will happen? H2CO3 will happen. Carbonic acid will form. So what will happen in that? If carbon dioxide is eliminating CO2, so what will happen? H ions will remain steady. One H ions will separate H plus ions. So this H plus ion, if in the blood uh, hydrogen is increasing, what will happen? It will increase the acidic nature of the blood. If hydrogen ions are less, in the base, so we need equilibrium. pH is always per hydrogen is always between 7.64 or 0.4, between 7 to 7.3, between 7 to 7.3. Okay, so if what will happen if the carbon dioxide is not eliminating, large amount of H plus ion is formed, so body will go to the acidic stage. This is very important. Body will go to the acidic state. So you already will study in coming classes. It is coming, but here the introduction is giving. So basically, it is very important. Okay. Next, we have regulation of respiration. After that, we have acid-base balance. The two topics are left. We will complete in coming classes. So if any doubts you have, please ask me. I think today's class is very interested from my point of view.